The sun dipped slowly behind the horizon, painting the small town in soft shades of gold and crimson. Inside a modest little house at the end of Maple Street, Robert sat quietly by the window, his rough hands resting on his knees. The faint sound of children laughing outside drifted in, but his gaze stayed fixed on the street lamp flickering to life. A soft voice broke his thoughts. "Daddy?" He turned to see Lily, his 12-year-old daughter, standing hesitantly by the door, holding a school brochure in her tiny hands. Her wide hazel eyes sparkled with hope, though her voice trembled as she spoke. "Dad, my school's organizing a science camp next month. All the students are going. Can I go too?" Robert smiled faintly, taking the brochure from her hands. The fee was printed in bold at the bottom, far more than what he could afford. He ran his thumb over the numbers, hiding the heaviness in his chest. "Of course, sweetheart," he said softly, forcing cheer into his voice. "You work hard, you deserve it." Lily's face lit up instantly. "Thank you, Daddy," she squealed, throwing her arms around his neck before running off to her room. When she was gone, Robert leaned back in his chair, exhaling slowly. He knew he didn't have the money. The little he earned from his late-night shifts at the factory barely kept food on the table, but he couldn't let Lily see that. Not after everything she'd lost. Anna, his wife, had passed away 3 years ago after a long illness, leaving Robert to raise Lily alone. Since then, every day had been a struggle, but he never complained. Lily was his world, his reason to endure the exhaustion, the endless bills, the lonely nights. That evening, Robert took out his old, worn leather wallet. Inside were a few crumpled bills and some loose change. Nowhere near enough. He stared at the money for a long moment before closing the wallet with a sigh. He would find a way. He had to. The next morning, Robert left home earlier than usual. The factory's machines roared loudly as he began his shift, lifting heavy boxes until his back ached and sweat soaked through his shirt. At lunch, instead of eating, he went to the foreman's office. "Mr. Jacobs," he said quietly, "is there any chance I could take on extra shifts?" The foreman looked up, his brow furrowing. "Robert, you're already working nights and weekends. If you push yourself any harder, you'll collapse." Robert hesitated, then lowered his voice. "It's for Lily. She wants to go on a school camp, please." The foreman studied him for a moment before sighing. "All right. There's a double shift tomorrow. But be careful." "Thank you," Robert said, relief washing over him. The days blurred together after that. Robert worked from dawn till midnight, his body screaming for rest, but he didn't stop. Every blister, every ache, every drop of sweat was for Lily. At night, when he came home long after she'd fallen asleep, he'd stand by her bed for a moment, brushing a stray strand of hair from her forehead. "Sleep well, princess," he'd whisper softly. "Daddy's got you." One evening, as he sat at the kitchen table counting his earnings, Lily padded into the room in her pajamas. "Daddy," she said gently, "why are you working so much lately?" "You're always tired." Robert smiled faintly, hiding the pain in his hands. "Because my little scientist needs to go to camp," he teased. Lily's cheeks flushed pink. "You don't have to, Daddy. I don't need to go if it's too much." Robert shook his head firmly. "No, sweetheart. You deserve this. Don't worry about me." She hugged him tightly, resting her small head against his chest. "I love you, Daddy." He closed his eyes, holding her close. "I love you more." The night before the camp deadline, Robert came home late, his boots caked in mud, his shirt soaked from the rain. He placed a small envelope on the table, the exact amount needed for Lily's camp. Relief filled his chest, though his body trembled from exhaustion. The next morning, Lily woke up early to find the envelope waiting for her. She squealed with joy and hugged Robert so tightly he thought his ribs might crack. "Thank you, Daddy. You're the best." Robert smiled, ruffling her hair. "Go make me proud, okay?" The day of the camp arrived. Robert woke before sunrise to pack Lily's small bag, slipping in her favorite snacks and the drawing she had made of them, both 2 stick figures, holding hands under a starry sky. At the station, as Lily boarded the school bus, she turned back and waved. "I'll miss you, Daddy." Robert waved back, his heart full. "I'll miss you too, Princess. Have fun." He stood there until the bus disappeared down the road, the cool morning breeze brushing against his tired face. But that evening, as the factory machines roared, Robert's body finally gave in. Years of overwork, sleepless nights, and skipped meals caught up with him. He collapsed against a stack of crates, clutching his chest as his vision blurred. They rushed him to the hospital, where doctors worked tirelessly to stabilize him. By the time Lily returned from camp, Robert was lying in a hospital bed, pale but smiling weakly. "Daddy!" Lily cried, rushing to his side. "Are you okay?" He reached out, brushing her tears away. "I'm fine, sweetheart," he whispered. "I just need some rest." She hugged him tightly, sobbing into his shirt. "I don't want you to get sick because of me." Robert kissed the top of her head, his voice soft but firm. "Hey, listen to me. Everything I do for you. You are my greatest gift, Lily." Months later, when Robert finally recovered, Lily returned from school one afternoon carrying a small envelope. Inside was a letter. She had won a scholarship for her science project at the camp. She threw her arms around Robert, tears of joy streaming down her face. "Daddy, I did it. I got the scholarship." Robert held her close, his heart swelling with pride. "I knew you would, Princess." That night, as they sat together under the stars, Lily rested her head on his shoulder. "One day," she whispered, "I'll take care of you, Daddy, just like you took care of me." Robert smiled faintly, tears glimmering in his tired eyes. "You already have, sweetheart. More than you know." And beneath the quiet, endless sky, father and daughter sat together, holding on to each other, knowing that no matter how hard life became, love would always be their greatest strength.